I stumbled across your J curve. Can you explain what that is?
Like most people, I'm blown away by the core AI capabilities. At the same time, I'm disappointed that we're not seeing real business value.
Yeah.
The official productivity numbers aren't really picking up. And this is a pattern actually you see over and over with earlier technologies. I mentioned electricity earlier. It took about 20 to 30 years before you saw a big gain in productivity from electricity. What we found was that the first factories that electrified, they simply pasted electricity onto the old ways of working. They didn't really rethink things. And it didn't lead to much of a productivity gain, or really any at all, according to the official records. It was only after they kind of reinvented the factory. When they did that new layout, they had a doubling of productivity, even a tripling of productivity in some of the factories. So the lesson there is not that electricity was a dud or it was overhyped. The lesson is that electricity by itself didn't give you the big benefit. Now, coming to your question about the J curve, during that period when they were trying to figure out better ways of using it, they were inventing new business processes, they were reskilling the workforce. There wasn't much of an increase in output, but there's a big effort and time of management, even consulting work. That showed up as more inputs, no increase in output. In other words, lower productivity. Later, once they had it figured out, then that productivity took off. And if you map it, it looks like a J. At first, it's kind of flat or down even, and then it takes off. We saw this pattern over and over with different technologies. Right now, I think we're in the early stages, or actually the turning point of that J curve. I think we're just beginning to have some takeoff now after a little bit of a lull.
How do you know if you're on that path versus that you're kind of just floundering around doing bad experimentation and bad implementation?
Yeah, well, in the practical world, both things are happening. I've certainly seen some companies that are floundering around, not using it effectively. I've seen others that are doing genuine reinvention. I do feel like we're doing things a lot better and faster today in 2025 than happened with electricity or with the steam engine, some of the earlier technologies. Part of it is the technology itself is just easier to implement. It doesn't require as much special equipment. The other thing is just, managers are much more scientific, I think, and careful about implementing things. They've got consulting companies that help them out. They've got business schools. They're just being much more disciplined about it. Back in, the late 1800s or the late 1700s, there wasn't as much of a science of management. So for both those reasons, we're speeding things up.